Let's speak now to Arsenій Yacenyuk, who is a former Prime Minister of Ukraine and joins us on Times Radio this evening. Good evening to you, Arsenій.
Good evening, good evening.
Some slightly improved news this evening about the power plant at Zaporizhzhia. The UN watchdog says the last regular power line to the plant has been restored. How close a call was the disconnection today? What do you make of it?
Well, nothing new. Just 8 days ago, I was talking to your radio, and I was very clear saying that Russia is to freeze Ukraine, that Russia is to freeze Europe, and that definitely that Russian regime and Russian aggressors will cut off Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. It just happened. The information that I got just right now is that this so-called forced line is already restored, but it doesn't fix the problem. And even in case if, for example, these experts from International Atomic Agency is to be allowed to grant a visit to Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, what's going to change? Just nothing. Because this is to be a temporary visit, a fact-finding mission. And could you imagine those folks who are working at this Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, they are under harass and duress of the Russian military. They will never tell the truth. And then this mission will go back to Geneva or to any other destination. And what we're going to have in the end? In the end, Russia will control this nuclear power plant. And we are all in a very, very dangerous situation.
So the visit of inspectors and people checking over the plant doesn't fix the threat of Russia, as you
Absolutely.
say. The power plant is under Russian control. Each side blaming each other for activity around the plant, of course, causing these power lines to be temporarily taken out today. How do we try and address the threat from your perspective? I mean, this could be too big a question, but when you think about that power plant, where it's located and what's happening there, how do we try and lessen the threat from Russia?
Well, here is the thing. You just mentioned that each side put the blame on the other side. I want to be very clear. First, never trust to Russian culprits and Russian criminals. Neither Putin nor his regime. Second, could you imagine that Ukrainian government or Ukrainian officials or Ukrainian military decided to shell the nuclear power plant located on the Ukrainian territory in order what? To put in danger an entire Ukrainian territory and Ukrainian nation and the entire Europe. So it's only in the interest of Russia actually to hold this nuclear power plant, as you know, as a kind of nuclear blackmail for the entire world, and to hold hostages everyone living in Ukraine and in Europe, actually controlling this nuclear power plant. There is only one solution, and I want to be very clear again. Well, the temporary solution could be, for example, to send a permanent monitoring mission comprised of different experts and folks from International Atomic Energy Agency, from the Ukrainian Energoatom. This is the nuclear power plant company, state company, or another experts. But this is not the solution. The only solution which is on the table is very clear. Russia is to withdraw from the Ukrainian territory, including Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant.
What kind of support is needed? What needs to happen for Russia to concede, to retreat from the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant?
And another case scenario which is on the table is there is only one solution. How to squeeze Russia out of Ukrainian territory is to launch a counteroffensive. Period.
And what do you envisage that counteroffensive looking like? Who do you want involved?
Well, counteroffensive, I am not a military expert. If politicians play any kind of role in the military operations, this would be a disaster. Okay, everyone is to bear its own responsibility. But in terms of what really counteroffensive is about, this is a large-scale military operation launched by the Ukrainian military to take back sovereign soil of the Ukrainian state. And in order to have this operation successful, what is needed? Heavy weaponry is needed. Stronger sanctions on Russia, they are needed. A joint and strong Western support and strong, I would say, unity of the entire free world against the Russian Federation is needed. So these are not the new recipes. That's what everyone is well aware of.
Currently, the Ukrainian military doesn't have enough support to launch a counteroffensive. I mean, I'm also thinking about the fact that Vladimir Putin's ordered a 10% boost in Russian troop numbers today. Yep. He's signed a decree that could see another 137,000 boots on the ground. First of all, from Ukraine's perspective, strategically, how can they look to make gains from Russia? Where do we look to?
So I do commend the decision of the U.S. administration and personally President Biden to disburse another $3 billion in order to support the Ukrainian state and Ukrainian military. So we are to get a new package of military support for the Ukrainian armed forces to make Ukrainian military more durable. So the situation which is on the ground is very, very complicated. Look, we are fighting against one of the biggest armies in the world. And let me remind you that Russia possesses a nuclear armaments and huge stockpiles of nuclear arms. So Russia was thinking that they can easily have a lightning operation in the end, which is to take over an entire Ukraine and the capital of Ukraine. They failed. We managed to deter Russians. So as of now, Ukraine receives a lot of weapons. No doubt that we need more. So this is I would say the first pillar. Mm-hmm. The second pillar is that Russia is still financing its war machine with dollars and euros getting from the export of energy goods. So the world and the free world is to ramp up sanctions and actually to impose embargo on both oil and gas. And I do understand all troubles and challenges the Europe and actually the United Kingdom is facing with this oil and gas embargo. But I want to be very clear. In the long run, we will win. We will completely reshape and restructure our economies. We will get rid of Russian energy dependence. As a prime minister, I did it in 2014. We didn't purchase any single cubic meter of gas from the Russian Gazprom. So the third issue is financial support. And I do really appreciate the financial support that is provided by the Western world, the United States, the United Kingdom, and the European Union. As of now, we are on I call it as a non-financial ventilator, because we are in a dire plight, in a disastrous situation. Russian aggression ruined actually half of Ukrainian economy. But we will resurrect. The most important issue for us right now is to prevail, to win this war.
And we absolutely appreciate that. We have more news about energy bills coming here tomorrow in the UK, and many households are facing increases of 100, 200% on their energy bills, and it's a tough time. When we talk about, and I know that you appreciate that, of course. I think everyone would like to try and not have a reliance on Russian gas and oil, but obviously it has to be a nuanced breakaway, doesn't it? It has to be. You have to bear in mind what the war so far has done to energy prices in the West.
Well, could you imagine what the war has done to the Ukrainian people?
Yeah.
And to my country, and actually to everyone who is fighting against the Russian aggression, to the families, to those who lost their loved ones, to 14 million of Ukrainians who are either internally displaced persons or just fled to the European Union or to other countries. Could you imagine what Russia already done to your security? I mean, to the security of the United Kingdom and to the safety of the British people. I don't want to remind you Salisbury, you're well aware of. I don't want you to remind you a dozen, not a dozen, just a pile of Russian spies and Russian assets located in Britain. What they are doing with the energy prices. But once again, I want to be very clear. This is the challenge. And as we face this challenge, we can be either stronger or weaker. I believe that the world, the free world, will be stronger. Look, Germany and the rest of the Europe, they were too they were too reliant on the Russian energy. They were too dependent on the Russian energy. So in the end, what happened? Russia actually took them as hostages. But in the long run, it is crystal clear that we all need to restructure our economy, to make it more energy efficiency, to make it more compatible and competitive. I know the data. Actually, those who live in the United Kingdom, your citizens, they are to face very high energy bills, 3 times higher than last year, as far as I remember the numbers.
Yes.
And the government is to subsidize. That's what I did in 2014 and 2015. But in the end, we managed to overcome this. We managed to do this. And we became stronger. And I am completely sure that we will be stronger. And Putin is testing us. Look, he is testing. This bastard is testing us. We will pass this test.
That was Arsenій Yacenyuk, who is a former Prime Minister of Ukraine, speaking to me.